Oh, look at my wrist. It's 6:15. That means it's time for Sports on the Quarter. We're going to take you from Syracuse to Detroit, over the hill and far away. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Just take my hand and we'll make it, I swear. Sports on the Quarter starts right now. The ACC tournament begins today in Washington, D.C. 2 games making up the first round today as NC State took down Wake Forest and Florida State put a beating on hapless Boston College. But none of that really matters for Syracuse fans. All they care about is tomorrow when Syracuse takes on Pittsburgh at noon. Win and the Orange advance to take on North Carolina and, more importantly, can breathe easier about their chances come Selection Sunday. Lose and investing in heart medication in the Syracuse area might be wise. It's going to be close. Syracuse has already lost 2 games to Pittsburgh this year and hasn't lost to a team 3 times in a season since 1987 and Georgetown. So, we'll see. Same sport, different story for the Syracuse women's team. Coming off a win over number 7 Louisville and a strong showing and a loss to Notre Dame, the Syracuse women have risen in the rankings yet again. Seeing as last week's number 17 was the highest ranking in program history, logically, this week's number 14 sets a new record. For now, the women await the news of their NCAA tournament bid. If the Orange get a 4 seed or better, the Carrier Dome would host the first and second round of the NCAAs. While the women await their tournament seed and the men wait to see if they'll even make the tourney, another season has quietly started on the hill, Syracuse lacrosse. Facing the loss of most of their offense from last season, the question was who would step up for the winningest lacrosse program in history. This week, the answer could be found in a salon. That's a bad joke on the name of Tim Barber, but he's been anything but a joke for the Orange. The senior attacker tied and set career highs with 5 points and 3 goals against Virginia, earning himself ACC Offensive Player of the Week. This week, the Carrier Dome has been renamed the Barbershop in his honor. After that story, I'm sure many of you wish I'd retire. Well, you're getting half of that. Someone retired. Not me, but someone almost as athletic, Calvin Johnson, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. the Detroit Lions' all-time leading receiver. He officially announced his retirement today after 9 years in the NFL. Johnson was only 30 and becomes the latest in a recent rash of players retiring at a young age. We'll touch on that later. For now, though, we just know Johnson holds the NFL record for most receiving yards in a season and made 6 Pro Bowls. We're going to take a quick break, but on the other side, I'll be joined by some friends and we're going to have some fun. So be there or be lame. Sports on the Quarter is back in 2 minutes.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
Huntington.
Every proper bear knows that the right fit means everything. Especially when it comes to car seats.
Oh, really? I just did what any bear would do.
So know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size.
I like it.
To learn more, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Oh, hello there. Oh,
Where's that bear?
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Welcome back inside the CitrusTV studios for Sports on the Quarter, the second half. I'm your host, Tyler Cass. Now I'm joined by Emily Wood, Matthew Weasel there. Guys, welcome to the show. First of all, coming up, St. Patrick's Day. It's in a week or so. We're going to be off, though, so right off the bat, we got to ask the Irish question that's on everyone's mind. Which is a more Irish band, U2 or Dropkick Murphys?
I'm gonna go with Dropkick Murphys just because you got to get in the feel for St. Patrick's Day when you hear that song.
Yeah, no, Dropkick Murphys, Shipping Up to Boston, great song. And also, Murphys, a lot more Irish sounding than just the name U2. Even though the members might disagree with that of U2, a lot more Irish sounding to say Dropkick Murphys.
I mean, I don't think Bono or Edge are traditional Irish names, but yeah, we'll see.
I don't know.
All right, on to the sports. I just talked about Calvin Johnson retiring at age 30. He's the second Lions great to do that. Of course, Barry Sanders walked away from the sport after his age 30 season, but it's become more of a recent trend. We saw Marshawn Lynch retire at age 29. Peyton, obviously, on the little bit of the older end, Charles Woodson also, but then Calvin Johnson, again, age 30, retires. What does this kind of say about the current NFL climate?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely was a shock to most fans that he retired. I didn't see it coming, but you have to remember, football takes an immense toll on the body. So, if you feel like you're not at your peak anymore, and you might be willing to walk away knowing that you were at the peak at once and knowing you're not going to get to that again.
Yeah, for me, this big problem is the state of the NFL in general. You're looking at stars, Marshawn Lynch and Calvin Johnson, both under 32. That's really young for athletes to retire. That's not good for the state of the league in general. Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson, stars, when they retire, it doesn't really matter necessarily as much as something as huge as Calvin Johnson. This is bad for the league in general.
But perhaps, good for their health in the long run, especially considering what we've seen from the league.
I mean, we need entertainment.
They've got the money already, and when it's someone like Calvin Johnson, he's already got the record for most single-season receiving yards. He's the best wide receiver in Detroit Lions history. I don't know that he thinks he's necessarily walking away from much. I don't know that Matt Stafford bunch was going to get to a Super Bowl anytime soon. All right, moving on to a more Syracuse-centric story. Next week is spring break on the Syracuse University campus. Not just for the students, well, pretty much just for the students. Basketball team, lacrosse team, everyone still got games. But let's pretend for a second they didn't. What do Syracuse athletics do on their spring break?
I think they got to get out of the cold here in Syracuse and go someplace warm. Maybe hit a beach, work on their tan, something like that. Maybe hit a few bars.
Basketball team did play its best basketball this season in the Bahamas. Maybe they go back.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they have to go back because if we're going to look at this in a couple seconds, but they're going to lose to Pitt probably tomorrow. Probably not going to go to the NCAA tournament. And I don't think Jim Boeheim's going to be too happy with an NIT bid. I'm saying they're about to get some nice tan going. Maybe Tyler Ladden's going to be a little bit tanner next year.
It's a long season to play in the cold weather up here.
Yeah. Jim Boeheim wouldn't even leave the cold weather when he was suspended in December. You think he's going to do it now in March? Listen,
maybe Coach Q, with the women's team, they might be going to warmer climates with different things. Maybe True. Coach Q teaches Jim Boeheim to get a tan.
Well, we've touched on it a lot. Tomorrow, Syracuse takes on Pittsburgh in a battle for its tournament destiny. Real quick, Emily, your prediction.
I'm going to say Syracuse wins this one 70-66. You can't lose to a mediocre team 3 times in a row. You can't expect to make the NCAA tournament. So I think they're going to come out. They're going to have to work on their rebounding. They can't get out-rebounded as bad as they did. Almost 20 rebounds Pitt had over them both of the last 2 matchups.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing. You can lose 3 times in a row. I have Syracuse losing this game 78-64 because, man, those Pittsburgh bigs are good.
Well, we're going to take a little trip to the future now to find out what exactly happens if Syracuse wins. Welcome into Sports on the Quarter. Syracuse just took down Pittsburgh 70-67, a real nail-biter. Caleb Joseph coming off the bench, hitting a game-winning 3. Who would have known? All right, Syracuse is beating Pittsburgh. Selection Sunday. Are they in the tournament?
I think they are. I think they just squeeze in a 10 or 11 seed. It's still going to be close, but I think they make it with a win.
I agree. I think actually they're going to get bumped up to a 9 seed. But Caleb Joseph, 20 minutes in the game. It's 17 points, phenomenal job, and listen, you can't ask it for anything more from the sophomore.
All right, but what do you think would have happened if Syracuse had lost?
I think, if Syracuse loses, they aren't going to make the tournament. I just don't think you can lose 3 times to a mediocre team, somebody who's low ranked in the ACC, and make the NCAA tournament.
Caleb Joseph, 20 minutes. You can't have that to win a game. It was bad. It was bad, just watching as not even as a fan, just as an analyst or anything. It was awful to watch, and Syracuse, again, falls.
So, win or lose, Syracuse is going to have an interesting selection Sunday. It was also an interesting week that just happened in sports. Now, Emily and Matt share their best moments from the last week in sports, starting with you.
All right, so my best moment from the last week in sports is on March 1st. The Knicks played Portland, and then after the whistle, well after the whistle, Carmelo Anthony goes up for the rebound, and he misses embarrassingly. You know, the Knicks are already embarrassing enough this season. They don't need that added on top of that. But then only a few short days later, on the 5th, Andre Drummond of the Pistons goes up the dunk again against the Knicks and misses badly again for two in a row within the span of like 5 days. It's incredible in the NBA.
Yeah, but there are people that can dunk. One of them is Zach LaVine, and we can look. The slam dunk champion this year has been phenomenal all season long, and you can look just in the slam dunk contest, putting dunks. Listen, I don't think any of us can even imagine doing that, but there's a difference between doing it in a dunk contest and then doing it in a game. This is Minnesota and Charlotte just a few days ago. Charlotte crushing Minnesota, but Zach LaVine, you can't do that in a game, but he can. 361 hand slam. And listen, that is the reason why he lifts the slam dunk trophy. There's no one better in the game right now at dunking than Zach LaVine.
See, I would have been a lot more impressed if Aaron Gordon had gone and pulled his slam dunk contest to dunk in a real game, brought the mascot out on the court during a game, and dunked over him.
With a hoverboard.
With everything. All right, that's all the time we have here today on Sports on the Quarter. Tune in tomorrow to see Syracuse versus Pittsburgh. Tune in 2 weeks to see the rest of us. I'm Tyler Cass. Thanks for watching.